All right.
All right.
All right, let me share my screen. It's like, so this is part of the POC for Redis cluster VMs. It's not exactly the same as what we would do in a VM setting because our VMs have chef have chef scripts and they pull, I guess, the roles from a chef server. So it's a bit more simplified. I've actually based off a previous Redis chart sandbox that we have done. So it's just a bunch of Terraform scripts. I think some init script, some scripts to set up the cluster. There's a rather sort of hacky script to just check the topology of the cluster. It checks for these two conditions. But I think we might not go with the rotation where we shuffle the masters around. So I think for context for Marco, like let's say if we have three shards, meaning like in Redis cluster, there's 16,000 key slots. So I think about 5,000 per in a three shard setup. Three of the master nodes they would cover like about 5,000 ish key slots. So these master nodes cannot all be in the same zone. So let's say US East 1 have B, C, and D zones. So if all of them are in the same zone and the zone goes down, then the quorum for the Redis cluster is lost, meaning the replicas cannot communicate and decide who to take over because you still need majority of the master nodes to decide that a replica can take over. Yeah, so there's two ways to go about it. One is you arrange your master so that this never happens, but that's not really foolproof. So I think Igor and Matt has discussed that the way around this would be to force promote a replica to become the new master. So that one, I'll probably write a script first, soon, so that we can just run it. I think Matt probably has a more detailed proposal on how we can do it because I don't think we can keep running scripts. It probably has to be packaged in a better way. Uh, yeah, so a couple of them. There's a run load test script for anyone to pick it up and just run it. But you do need your own sandbox. So I'll go into how to set up in a bit. But this script basically is copied almost wholesale from uh, a script over here, which is I think run benchmark. Yeah, except I place a couple of like resource requests because I ran into some context cancellation issues when I ran it on a machine that's under provision. So I sort of over provisioned a little bit and then run it there. Uh, okay, so there's a .env file. It works the same way. So I think Igor will be familiar, but this more for Marco. If you update your projects to your own sandbox project, and I think everything else you can keep it the same. You could probably switch create default cluster to true. Oh yeah, I might have not tidied up this part, but the main flag to change is your project. Once your project is set to your sandbox or whichever project you're authorized to Terraform apply on, this will just work. So you just do a source, you Terraform, you go to the Terraform folder, do an init plan apply. So one difference between this repo, this project and this project is that I did not put in the Terraform state because it's probably going to be your own sandbox. If it's not going to be your own sandbox, you might as well put it state locally. I'm not sure if it's preferred to put it in to have the state stored in a project. But yeah, I got it to work just locally first. And if someone were to run it, they wouldn't have state clashes because it would be their sandbox and mine would be mine would be my project, like Chin something.
Yeah. I think there might be a way to have multiple state files per project.
Yeah.
So you could sort of namespace it potentially. I might be
Okay.
wrong on that, but yeah, no, I
Okay.
think that
Yeah, I
might
have
be
to check it
possible.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to check it out first. Because for sandbox, for like just to set it up, it wasn't the highest priority. This was
Yeah, yeah,
like it
yeah.
was more of a better thing to
Fair
do later.
enough.
So
Yep.
yeah, I'll check it out. But yeah, so this script should get your things running. Spin up a GKE cluster with I think some nodes. I think 6 nodes, and then you have load generators. So you could modify your script to increase the amount of load. based on load test, we could just change. I guess I can have a config value later on, but if you want to change and increase amount of load you're applying, you could just increase these, and then I'll probably put configs so that you can change the amount, how long you're going to run it for. Because if we want to, so the purpose of the load test was not really to test whether this cluster can handle the load. I think Craig has already run a benchmark before. I can link the description. I can link the issue in the demo document later. But it was more to test whether, like, what is the behavior of a Redis cluster under traffic and under and you run a reshard. So if there's a lot of keys and it's facing high traffic and you perform a reshard, meaning you migrate some keys from into the new master node, like what is the impact on the new master node and also the master node that is moving its keys over. So I got a issue that I've got a short issue on this. I haven't run a full load test. This was more of the to get like this more like to get things started and to see if there are any observables. So I observed these, but I'm not sure if I will still observe them under like a production setting. So I think on the receiver end, you see more RDB safe in the background thread, which makes sense because it's receiving more key slots. So it might trigger the background write. Then I think on the sender, you see a lot more migrate command compared to get. Yeah, which makes sense. So this is all performed under like minimal, like non-realistic load. We have to do a proper load test with more data, that's for sure. Because I think these will run with a lot lesser data. Yeah. Anyway, I think that is it. That is it for this POC sandbox. So I think I'll probably like brush up bits of it, but I think it's fairly enough for anyone to just pick it up and start running. So if we are, so I think that's it for this POC.
That's
it was
really
enough
cool.
for us. Yeah, thanks. It was enough for me to like try out some of the failure modes. Like I can just crash one VM and see how does it handle. So I guess right now it's a little bit manual. Might be because my Terraform knowledge is not up to scratch, but like I just did like shard 1, shard 2 instead of using count because within each shard there's 3 counts, and the way things the way like if we set up we set the zones by using the element function, it sort of wraps around. So it goes, I think, C, D, B, and then it just keep rotating. And then the fourth one would be C. So I did it this way so that it's cleaner, so that like shard 2 node 0 would be definitely in zone B. And then shard 2 node 1 would be in zone D. Yeah, then the next one will be zone B. So that when locally when I ran it, like I know which is which zone. But we could, like if we were to do it, we could modify it so that we can configure which zone we want to bring it up in. Yeah, mainly referred from I think generic store, which is the Terraform module that we use to create nodes for Redis in production.
Right, which is pretty chef specific though. So
yeah, it's very chef specific.
But I guess we could. I mean, honestly, I think this is perfectly fine. If we wanted to make this a little less repetitive, we could do like a Terraform module within this repo and then import it from there. But I think this is fine. For now,
I think
yeah,
it's enough for us to run our experiments.
Yes. 2 questions. First one, what is the Redis version that you're running this with? Is it latest?
I'm using
7
Omnibus.
or is it 6? Okay, Omnibus, yeah.
I'm installing Omnibus. So like the init script will just pull Omnibus and then run it. It will, I think it also pulls a certain, or it pulls, it checks out to this branch because that branch I have modified it to accept cluster configurations. So it would just do a git checkout. It's a little hacky, but yeah, then it would do a copy of it would do the copy of the cookbooks and then do a reconfigure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. When I was recently reviewing the Redis 7 changelogs, I saw really a lot of Redis cluster related stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I initially wanted to go with Omnibus, but I'm starting to lean more towards using Redis 7. And
yeah.
Omnibus doesn't have Redis 7, and I don't think we want to couple ourselves to the Omnibus version. I think we want to maybe move a little faster than Omnibus on this. So it may, in the short term, it may be worthwhile getting a Redis 7 running in this setup.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then in the long term, we need to figure out a plan for, do we want to build our own Redis 7 binaries and manage that somehow?
Yeah, true. If we were to do that, would it be inside Omnibus or would it be external?
I would probably do it outside of Omnibus, because Omnibus doesn't easily support multiple concurrent versions, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, it doesn't sound like a good time to me. So if we can bypass Omnibus, that's probably worth doing.
Yeah, true. But I think we might have to discuss the distributions, because I think if the like our Git like okay no our GitLab web service is still run from, is it still run from Omnibus, or is it from does the cloud image, does the container image just like, it's just the latest version, like without, because I'm
No,
thinking if we have to modify it to accept cluster parameters, then it might be a bit weird if like Omnibus user, like if he configures it for cluster but there's no cluster, like we can't run Redis cluster.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think we may want to just bypass Omnibus altogether and write out our own Redis config that is independent from Omnibus. That's kind of what we do with Postgres already anyway on gitlab.com.
Okay.
So we're not using Omnibus to run Postgres. So yeah, I think there's precedent for not using Omnibus on our databases.
All right.
Yeah. And the second question, I'm kind of curious to see this in action. Do you have it running and have something that
I
you could
don't.
show? Okay.
I
Then
don't.
I'm
But
not
I
gonna.
could. Yeah, I was thinking of running it, but it might like it takes a while to spin up everything, so just all be staring at it for a while. Okay, let me see.
I mean, let's try it, and if we get bored, we
Yeah,
can cancel.
yeah. Let me take a look. 22 sounds right. Yeah, okay, I could go to the console, go to my project. Yeah, so it spins up all these. It's still spinning the normal instances. I think then it will spin up the GKE VMs. Yeah, so I think it takes a while behind because it still needs to install Omnibus and then it still needs to install.
But I think downloading Omnibus is probably the slowest part of this process.
Yeah, so normally I would just take. Normally, what I do is I just take this and then just uh then I ping it and then yeah, normally it doesn't work. I think the script. Uh, oh no, it's not this. Redis cluster sandbox. I could run the script. What script setup? Yeah, the script would just keep looping and ping it, but normally I don't do that. Yeah, but before it tries to join the master nodes together, it would make sure everything is alive. Yeah, so technically I could just run it. Set up cluster. Okay, let me add a statement. Set up cluster. Echo not ready. Sleep. Set up. Oh no, I'm not done applying. It's still applying. There's no output. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I meant. I think the GK cluster takes a while to start up. Yeah, cluster container cluster. Container cluster is the GKE.
Yeah.
Okay. I think some of the nodes are. I think I provisioned 2 nodes per zone, so they're creating. Yeah, but given the okay, sidetrack. For Kubernetes, like if we were to run Redis cluster in Kubernetes, like how do we label? I was thinking how can we label the zone information? It's unless we
Mm,
run it,
I don't
unless
think,
we deploy it.
yeah, I don't think we do. So I would probably use node anti-affinity or sorry, pod anti-affinity to
Yeah.
ensure that the pods are in distinct zones. And
Yeah.
we don't necessarily care whether pod 0 is in node
Okay.
B and pod
If
1 is in node
yeah.
C, right? Like the exact
If
assignment doesn't matter too much as long as
yeah.
they're distinct. And if we did want to enforce some policy, that's
Yeah.
something that whoever is enforcing the policy needs to discover, and they can do that by inspecting the pod state, right? Like you do
Oh. Oh.
kubectl get, and it should tell you which zone that pod is running in. If it
Oh.
doesn't tell
It's not in
you,
the YAML,
it'll
right?
yeah, I think it's in there, but if it's not, then it'll have the node name and you can go to the node and get that information that way.
Okay.
So I think it
Okay.
should be
Okay.
discoverable.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I was trying to do it locally, and then in GKE, I was trying to find a way to, like, based on the IP, like, can I get what is the information, like, what is the zone? Because I wanted to spread the masters out. But I guess
Yeah,
if we were to do the force failover, the failover takeover,
yes.
uh, yeah, then I guess we don't really need that.
Then it doesn't
At
matter
least not that
which
urgently. Yeah,
zone.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a remedy for it.
Yep.
Yeah, then I guess if we use Kubernetes, like the Bitnami charts, then it comes with Redis 7. Just that I think we need to go through that whole process of getting them to compile with the frame pointers.
If they haven't fixed that image yet, because they did do it for the Redis image, so it could be that they already modified it as well. I don't know if you've checked,
Yeah, I haven't checked it. Why is it still creating?
but I think we'll likely start out on VMs anyway.
Oh yeah, fair.
So I
Why is it
think we
still
we get to push
creating?
that problem back a little.
Okay, it's
Okay.
alive. But my GK is still creating. Wait, did I do something wrong? Uh, container cluster. No, I didn't modify this. This is quite standard. node pool. Node generator. No, I'm only making one. Weird. It's taking really long. But then again, when I run this normally, I would switch and do something else. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably also fine to leave it running, like leave the GKE cluster lying around to avoid having to recreate it
Yeah,
every time. It's
true.
not
But I
super
was like more like
expensive.
cost.
It's
I'm not sure how does
yeah,
this cost work. So
I don't
I
think
normally kill it end of the day.
I think in the grand scheme of things, this isn't too expensive.
Nodes, 3 nodes. Yeah, because I was provisioning 3 nodes. Is it 3 nodes? I think 2 nodes per zone, so that's 6 nodes. But I only see 3 nodes here.
I guess I mean, probably too late now, but as a faster experiment, we could also run this without creating the Kubernetes cluster and then skipping the load
Yeah, sure.
generation. Yeah.
I could. I mean, can I kill it now? If I interrupt it, it would not, correct?
No, it's
Just
going to be sad.
uh oh, okay, wait. This is a really dumb. This is a really dumb. I'll just comment it out. I'll just comment out the GKE portion and just do the notes. They're still there, so I think that's gonna refresh the state,
Yeah, I think so too.
and then it will give me an output. Because I need the output to run the bash. The bash script is just the output for the IPs. Come on, give me my output. Destroying. Let me try. Setup. Oh, okay. That's an output.
That's all we need.
Yeah, that's all we need. Okay, so yeah, then Redis server's ready. It would get the masters to meet up. Wait, what? Yeah, not this happens sometimes. Normally I'll just do a teardown. Well, teardown does a reset. Then I'll just keep running teardown until everything's okay. Then I do a setup, and then it works. I think I have to do a flush. Okay. From output. Oh, okay. I think that's okay. I'll just do a fix later. Because I flushed DB, but I didn't flush slots. So I think that one had slots.
Right. So it deleted the data, but it still
Yeah, but
owns the
it still has
slot.
the slot. So when I join it, it would have slots, and then this happens. Yeah, this wouldn't. I think this happens when I start up Redis. Like when I install Omnibus, it starts up everything else. So everything else writes information in, and then it's not a clean empty Redis. So I've got to do a flush DB. Okay, I'll just pick a master and do a fix. Okay, I'll just do a cluster nodes. Then we can see. Oh, is this really messy? Okay, let me try tear down because it's a lot neater when they don't have slot fragments. Like with slot fragments, everything is not one line. Set up. The teardown basically runs cluster reset on everything. So yeah, this okay, this is way better. So it's, all the slots are like contiguous blocks. Yeah. So the first step, it creates a tree master node cluster, and then it starts adding replicas to different masters. It would meet and then replicate, meet and replicate. Then once it's done, it would have the topology that we want. Yeah. Except the master node would all be in the same zone. Yeah. Then you've got to rotate them. But if you don't really care about it and you can just do a fix, uh, then yeah, then it's as good as set up. Because each shard would be in different zone anyway. So if you do a cluster node again, yeah, we would get like let's say 579 is a master node, and then its two replica nodes are these two. Then you sort of get you sort of get two per master node. So you see 474, 474, one E0, one E0. So it's one master, two replica shard, and you have this behavior across all of them. So if GKE was up nicely, we can just run a load test on it, and yeah, and on the console page you would see traffic. Then yeah, that's the idea.
Do you want to maybe simulate the case where we lose two masters?
Yeah. Okay, I just bring down. Let's see. Yeah, VM0. So I will just do. Wait, why can't I stop them? Wait, hold on. I would use another IP. Hold on, killing those two. Let me zoom in a bit. Sorry. Oh wait, no. Okay, sorry. It would not happen because I don't think it would crash unless they both go down at around the same time because I suspended them with a short delay. It's not like a kill. Uh,
Yeah, so we may
is there a
actually be
cleaner
able,
command?
we may be
We
able
actually let it
to,
fail over cleanly.
yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that's okay. Yeah, I see two fail. Okay, wait, no, it did fail over nicely. So yeah, you can see two fail at the bottom, and the slave nodes aren't taking over. So
Yeah. And I think if you run the
yeah, so cluster
Redis,
state is fail now.
yes, nice.
Yeah, so it's fail because only one master is available, then there's no quorum. So if you want
Yeah.
to replace it, you've got to go into the slave nodes and then do a failover takeover.
Can you do
So
a, can you run a cluster shards as well?
No, it's version 6, so it doesn't have shards. It's an unknown command. Shards is only introduced in 7. Yeah, so I think if we
Oh,
that one more incentive to use Redis 7.
yes.
Yeah. So I think you only can do nodes and slots.
Slots. Okay,
And
do
then
slots. Let's see that.
yeah. So I think the two master that is down is this one. 34141. Yes. This one is down. And 241 is down. This one. So these two are down. And it's still cluster info, and it's still cluster fail. But I guess if we do one, okay, let me just fail over for one.
Mhm.
Uh let me just do fail over, take over. I think would failing over one recover everything?
I think it should,
Okay,
because
yeah, it would.
we
Because
have a
once you have a
majority.
majority,
Yeah.
yeah, so majority would be enough. Okay, no, I
Yeah.
want notes. Yeah, so you would see 5 masters. Yeah, so 2 masters fail, 5 masters, or 3 masters running. Then okay, so this one is the one that took over. So 197, which is 197 is the second one in shard 0. It took over the master role. And then I guess the other one that took over would be 26, right? Wait, no. 62 is the third one took over. So it's random. It's not, yeah. So this one took over. So yeah, so now we have a healthy cluster. Yeah, so this is how, like, if someone were to be on call, they would do it. But I guess we can just automate this process. When cluster is down, just find a healthy find find a healthy replica, take over, and then I guess wait and then repeat until it's healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so
No, wait,
too.
it's a little more involved. You got to find a healthy replica that belongs to whose shard has no master, something like that. But yeah, the idea is that. Yeah, I'm very interested. Okay, let me reboot these two and see if they join back and become replicas cleanly. Not sure if they do. I'm not sure how suspend works on the VM. Suspend just stops it, right? So the process is actually still running in the background, but the process is halted. Is that how it works on the VM? Like, meaning I don't have to reconfigure anything. If I unsuspend it, the process would just sort of be like rescheduled and it starts running again. I'm not sure how they track this.
I actually don't know.
Oh, it's gone. Oh, no, there's no plural. It's singular. Oh,
Yeah,
it recovered quite cleanly.
so apparently
141
suspend
is
does
it just stops it.
snapshot the memory, so it does kind of
Yeah.
resume from where it was. Yep.
Yeah, so 14 okay, so 141, which is the first shard 0, first the one that we suspended, it just joined back and it became a slave node. And then 241 is here, it just joins back and becomes a slave node. I'm not sure in the crash scenario it will be this clean, so we've got to actually crash it next time. But I guess this is I guess this shows Redis cluster is fairly robust, but then again, in our discussion, it has a lot of corner case we need to handle. I think this is a fairly smooth failure that is not realistic in production. Yeah, so I think that's it for this bit of for the POC demo. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for showing that.
Okay, I'll stop the
Sorry.
share.
I have a stupid question if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, you wanted to do like a 3-shard in a Redis cluster, right? So all the 16,000 slots divided to 3 shards, and then
Yeah.
you want to replicate it as well on 3 different zones. So thus there are 9 VMs per
Yeah.
se. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then like 3 VMs per zone. Then
Yeah.
there is Then the master slave is just the replica, right? And
Yes.
okay. So
Yeah,
how's the
so
master configuration again?
the
Sorry?
Which one becomes master on each zone? I didn't quite
Any one
understand
of
that
them.
part.
yeah, anyone
Like,
can.
anyone can. As long as you have a
So
majority, right? Because basically out of 3 masters, as long as 2 masters around, if it will just find a appropriate replica and then promote it to master. So just now it like sort of stopped, right? Because only 1 master was around. So majority.
Mm.
So if you have a three node setup, if 2 goes down, then you only left with 1. So yeah. So this happens. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I think realistically we should have more than 3 clusters. I'm not sure, but it makes I think it makes resharding a lot cleaner if you migrate slots. Because if you originally started off with more nodes, more shards, each shard does lesser work to move into the new node. Because it's 33% split, right? If so 33% to move to 25%, you move 8% per node. Whereas if you start with 25% per node, if you add a 5th one, you move 5% per node. So like but I guess we've got to factor in cost and provisioning and the VM sizing. So yeah, I'm not sure if cache we are running into a CPU issue or a memory issue first. I know for Sidekick, we kind of over provision the memory side, but I guess because we need the CPU, right?
yeah, I think we're running into both.
Okay.
And also the memory growth is driving more CPU utilization because of eviction.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, true.
But yes, we've certainly put the brakes on adding more stuff into the cache because we say we just can't handle it right now. So I think we will likely get more utilization out of it once we have the capacity to do so for both CPU and memory.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that question Matt will probably know how to size it. Like in terms of VM sizing, then I'm not sure how many nodes we want to start off with, but I guess we can decide that later on.
Yeah, I mean 3x3 is the smallest configuration.
Yeah, the minimum. Cause you can't go with 2, right? Cause that's
No.
could you?
We need
Not
at
allowed,
least
right? Yeah.
3 masters to be able to do promotions, right?
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, unless we manage it completely externally, but I don't think we want to go there.
Yeah, I think the purpose of clusters is to have a little like more than just 2. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense to probably start with 3x3 or maybe slightly over that, like 4x3 or something like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think that's it for me. Yeah.
Thanks for the demo. I'm gonna
No problem.
stop the recording now.